My colleagues, we come to the end of this so brief a session. I think I don't recollect a session of the House quite as brief as this one. I'm very conscious that I stand between you and what could perhaps be called refreshments being offered by the press gallery, and I do not want to therefore keep you too long. But it is a privilege to be back as your speaker. And in listening to debate this afternoon, I couldn't help but be struck, a feeling of déjà vu, to hear the Honourable John Banks refer to someone listening on the Crystal set again. The number of years in this House, I heard the Honourable John Banks use that line over the decade of the late 80s and 90s, and wonderful to hear the voice back in this House again. And of course, to hear the Right Honourable Winston Peters back in this House again, using some of the old lines, I think, to do with the plots of the media that were all lined up and all so evil. I'm sure we'll hear much more about that. But believe me, the voices from that, it shows one's age. The voices go back so far. I think Grant Robertson in his adjournment comments referred to the days when perhaps he spoke to me through a loudhailer. I've got to say, Mr. Robertson, you're always, though, very gracious one-on-one. But of course, Grant was not the only former student leader whose voice I listened to in this House. Andrew Little was also president of New Zealand University Students Association, whose voice I listened to as a Minister of Education in times gone by. But let me just share this one with you before I bring it to a close. There are some voices that I heard in the past in this House these days that you probably won't be aware that I had heard in the past, because in those days they were in short pants. And believe it or not, the Honourable Jonathan Coleman was a contestant on It's Academic. When I used to front the TV show It's Academic way back before ever entering this place in the early 1980s, what was fascinating was the Honourable Jonathan Coleman represented Auckland Grammar. On the other side of the House, of course, was Charles Chauvel, representing King's College, competing against each other on It's Academic. Don't ask me what year, but if the videos could ever be found of the shows again, I'm sure they'd be entertaining. My colleagues, thank you all for the spirit you've entered into the start of this session. I can see an eagerness to resume on the 7th of February next year. Thank you also for the kind comments that you've all extended to the staff of Parliament, at all levels, from the clerk's office through the parliamentary service right through to Bellamy's and the cleaners. You've all been very gracious and very kind about the comments, the thank yous you've extended to the people who make our lives in this place possible. I just want to endorse everything you've said. We're so privileged to be served by such a great team in this place. I wish you all a thoroughly enjoyable Christmas. Have a relaxing break, and I look forward to seeing you all back here on the 7th of February next year. My colleagues, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. The House stands adjourned until Tuesday, 7 February 2012.